Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So the Champions League starts on Tuesday, so the deadline will be on Tuesday afternoon. So I thought I'd show you my side currently because I've been tinking around with it the last few days. So here's the squad that I had last video, but I have made a few changes and I'll run you through why I'm thinking potentially selling these players. And first of all, we've got Cole Palmer. I'm not too sure if he's going to be fit. Away against Bayern Munich isn't the best fixture to actually have him, especially if he's not going to be fit. And at 9.5 million, I don't really want to spend 9.5 million on somebody that's not even going to be assured of starting. So I'm thinking potentially sell him. I'll see what happens over the weekend against Brentford. If he gets any minutes against them, then potentially I will keep him on my side. But if he doesn't get any minutes against them, then I'll probably have him off my side. Then we've got Saka, and I do think I'll sell him. I think he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. 9.5 million again. I don't really want to spend that type of money if he's not going to be fit. And then we've got Richarlison. I'm not too sure if he's going to start all the time because they've got Solanke and they've just signed another striker as well. So I think the minutes will get rotated a bit. And I don't really want to buy Richarlison, then he'll actually get dropped. So I'm thinking potentially just sell him, even though the price of him and the fixtures that they've got is really good, but I don't really want to take that risk. And then the question mark is on Mbappe or Kane. Do I actually have both of them, or do I just keep one of them and sell one of them and get the money to somebody else? Then we've got Quanta and Bayer Leverkusen's fixtures are really good for the first 4 game weeks, but I'm not too sure how they're going to get on with all the players that they've lost and the manager change that they've had in the last few weeks. So I'm not too sure about having Quanta because I'm not too sure about the clean sheets, even though they've got Copenhagen. I'm not too sure actually having him. And then last of all, we've got Rinders, and Man City haven't looked that great the first few game weeks of the season. Rinders did do well in the first fixture, and Marmoush's got injured in international duty, so Rinders could actually play the number 10 and be a really good price at 6.5 million, but the fixtures aren't ideal. So I'm thinking potentially not having him. So here are the changes that I could potentially do, and I could sell Palmer and get Çalhanoğlu instead. I saved myself 2.5 million. Inter Milan's fixtures are pretty good for the first 4 game weeks. He could be on set pieces and be taking penalties, so he could actually get a good few points in the first 4 game weeks. Then we've got Vinicius, and he's the same price as Saka, but I think he'll be the guy that's actually getting goals and assists for Real Madrid. Real Madrid's fixtures are pretty good for the first 2 game weeks. Home against Marseille, I think he could easily get a goal or an assist in that game. He has had a position change. He wasn't forward in it last season, but now he's gone into a midfielder who becomes a really good option. Then we've got João Pedro that's came in for Richarlison, and that's an extra 1 million that I've spent, but I think it would be a good option to have. Yes, the opening fixture away against Bayern Munich isn't ideal, but I think with Cole Palmer injured, he'll be the main man. And then for game week 2, 3 and 4, I think he's a really good player to have, and I think everybody will want him, so I'm going to get him early. Then in this updated draft, I have got Harry Kane, who's at home against Chelsea in the first game week, but I could easily have Mbappe, who's at home against Marseille, and double up on the Real Madrid attack. Then instead of Mbappe, I've downgraded and got Martinez and saved myself 1 million. Inter Milan's fixtures for the opening 4 fixtures are really good, and Martinez is the key man for Inter Milan, so I think he could easily get a few goals in the first 4 game weeks. Then instead of Quanta, I've upgraded and got Dumfries. As I've mentioned, Inter Milan's fixtures for the first 4 game weeks are really good, and Dumfries is one of them players in fantasy football that actually gets goals and assists, and he could be really good. He's not really a right back, he's more of a midfielder. He gets bombs up and down the wing, so I think he could easily get a goal and assist and a few clean sheets in the first 4 game weeks. And I do think I need an Inter Milan defender asset, and I think Dumfries is the best one, just because of his potential attacking returns that he could get. And then if Cole Palmer isn't fit, I do want another Chelsea player just for the game week 2, 3 and 4. And I think Enzo Fernandez is a really good option. He took a penalty in the last game with João Pedro on the pitch and Cole Palmer injured, so he could actually take them. He took the corners and set João Pedro up with a corner, so he could easily get goals and assists. So this current squad cost 99 million. I've got an extra million in the bank. If you've got any recommendations to upgrade any of these players in the squad, get in the comment section and let me know, and I might actually add them. But I'm also thinking saving 0.5 million in your bank isn't the worst idea, because if players' prices go up, at least you can afford them. And if players' prices drop down as well in the next game week, you can actually upgrade to somebody else, and you haven't got that worry that you haven't got the 0.1 million to be able to afford them. So having 0.5 million in your bank isn't the worst idea, because you could actually use that money in the next few weeks. But this isn't my ideal squad, because if Cole Palmer's fit, I would actually want to have him in my side. So the changes that I made from the other side is Cole Palmer obviously coming in for Çalhanoğlu, so I've spent an extra 2.5 million on getting Cole Palmer. So then I'd have to save 1.5 million, and my thinking is potentially downgrading Martinez to Thuram. He's just as good to getting goals and assists for Inter Milan. Then on this draft, I've put Mbappe instead of Harry Kane, just because I wanted to show you that it's a 50-50 out of them two. Let me know in the comment section, would you rather go with Mbappe for the first few game weeks or Harry Kane? I'm only worried about not having Harry Kane because I didn't have him in the opening game last season, and he got 4 goals and everybody captained him, and I was well behind for the first game week, and I was playing catch up all the way through the season, so I'm worried about not having him. But I do think Mbappe's fixtures are better for the first few games, so I do think Mbappe's probably better to have. And then because I've used all 3 Chelsea assets in getting Cole Palmer, I can't have Enzo Fernandez. I think Simmons is the better one just because of the fixtures, but Rinders could easily just be as good. Let me know in the comment section, do you think it should be Simmons or Rinders that stays on the side? I'm not too sure yet. We've got Premier League fixtures this weekend, and we'll see how both of them get on and see what position they play. because if Rinders is playing the number 10 with Marmoush injured, yes, he could be a really good option. But if Simmons is playing for Tottenham and he's looking really good up within the number 10, he could be a really good option. So we'll see. And that could swing me either way. I just wanted to quickly go over this just because I didn't know if everybody knew how to play the game, so I thought I'd explain it this way. So Champions League Fantasy is a bit different to FPL in the fact that FPL, once the deadline has passed, you can't do anything to your side, you're locked in, and whoever you've picked on the sub bench will come in if somebody's injured, so sub number 1 will come in first, and then sub number 2, if those players don't play in your first 11, and also whoever you pick as captain will be locked in FPL, but in Champions League it's a bit different. So all the players with a number 1, Vicario, Porro, Huijsen, Simmons, Vinicius and Mbappe, they all play on the Tuesday, so they've got the first fixture. And then everybody that's got a number 2, Dumfries, Elise, Palmer, Pedro, Thuram, Tosin and Calafiori, they play on the second day, on the Wednesday. And just for this opening game week, there's actual fixtures on the Thursday. This is what happened after this game week. So on the Thursday, you've got your McTominay, player that got the number 3 next to them. So I picked the bench with this in mind. So as you can see, I've got all the number 1 players starting. I've got most of the number 2 players starting. And I've got the players that I'm not too sure about starting in Wednesday's fixtures on the bench at first. So Tosin and California, and then put them in sub number 1 and sub number 2. The reason behind this is I'd rather start all the other players, and if I do bring either of them 2 players in, it'll be for Porro, Huijsen, Simmons, Vinicius or Mbappe, just because they're the players that play on Tuesday and I know their points by Wednesday. If they've only got 1 point, then I could actually make a switch and bring them in. But if they all get good points, then I'd actually just leave them on the bench. And then on the Thursday, I can bring one of them 10 outfield players out and bring McTominay into the side. It depends on who's got the least points. Whoever's got the least points, I'll bring them out and bring McTominay back into the side. But if they've all got really good points, then I'll just leave McTominay on the bench, but I don't think that'll happen. But if somebody's only got 1 point, 0 points, then I'll obviously bring McTominay into my side. But really, you don't want McTominay in your starting 11 to start off with, because he doesn't have the fixture first, and these players will play before him, and you can't actually sub players in that have actually played, and you don't really want to bring him out, and because you can't bring him back into your side on the Thursday. So you obviously have him on your bench, and then you bring him in when you need him for the player that has the least points. So I hope that makes sense, and that's the same case with captaincy. So on the Tuesday, we've got Porro, Huijsen, Simmons, Vinicius and Mbappe that are playing. So I could captain Vinicius or Mbappe in the first game. And if they don't do well on Tuesday night, I can actually captain one of the players that have got number 2 next to them. And let's say captaincy hasn't worked out again on Wednesday night, you could actually bring McTominay into your side and captain him on the Thursday night. So lastly, I just wanted to show you the fixture ticket for the opening 4 game weeks and why I've picked the players that I've picked. So I've put them in difficulty of fixtures. So Tottenham are at the top because they've got the easiest set of fixtures for the first 4 game weeks. So in my 11, I've got players from Tottenham, Inter Milan, Chelsea, Napoli, Real Madrid, Arsenal and Bayern Munich. And as you can see, when you look at them fixtures, they've all got really good fixtures for the first 4 game weeks. As you can see, Chelsea, Napoli, Arsenal and Bayern Munich haven't got the best fixture for the opening game week, but after that, they've got some good games. Bayern Munich have also got PSG in game week 4, so that's why it's putting me off maybe getting Harry Kane and getting Mbappe instead, because he's got Marseille and then PYAiuT in for the first 2 game weeks. The only problem with Mbappe is they've got Juventus and Liverpool in game week 3 and 4, so it's not the best. Both of these players could easily score in all 4 of these games, so I'm not writing them off, but I just think I want to attack the best fixtures. So my plan is to have Mbappe for game week 1 and 2 and then potentially sell him in game week 3. Barcelona's fixtures for game week 3 and 4 is really good, so I could potentially get Lewandowski instead. And I could also sell Elise and get somebody like Rafinha at Barcelona in game week 3 or 4. So for the Tottenham players in Vicario and Porro, they've got Villarreal, Bordeaux, Monaco and then Copenhagen. Some decent fixtures, potentially get some clean sheets. Then for the Inter Milan players, I've got Dumfries, Canaloglu potentially, or Martinez or Thuram up front. And they've got Ajax, Slavia, Prague, Unia, SG and then PYAiuT in the first 4 game weeks, so they could easily get some good points. Then for the Chelsea assets, I've got Tosin and Pedro, and then either Palmer or Enzo Fernandez, and they've got Bayern Munich, which isn't the easiest fixture. But after that, they've got Benfica and Ajax at home before they play Karabag, so they think they could easily get some good points. Then for the Napoli assets, we've got Morata and McTominay, but they've got Sporting, PSV and Frankfurt in the other 3 games, so they could easily get some good points. Morata is probably just a bench option. I've only signed Morata because he's 4 million, and I think he'll probably start for Napoli, and I think there's a good chance they either keep a clean sheet in one of these games, and I'm thinking with the 2 goalkeepers, I could potentially swap them over the game weeks. If one of them starts first and doesn't keep a clean sheet, I'll swap the other player for the other and see if one of them keeps a clean sheet. If neither of them keep a clean sheet, then it's all well. But if one of them plays first and keeps a clean sheet, I'll just keep them in my side. But if he doesn't keep a clean sheet, I'll swap them out. And I think with Lukaku injured for Napoli for a couple of months, I think McTominay is going to be the key player who's getting goals and assists for them. Then for the Real Madrid assets, you've got Huijsen at 4.5 million. I think for a Real Madrid player, a defender that's always going to start, I think he's really good for that price. Then we've got Vinicius Jr. at 9.5 that's gone to a midfielder. I think he's a really good one. And then Mbappe, obviously. So them 3 could easily get some good points in the first 4 game weeks. And I could potentially sell 1 or 2 of them in game week 3 and 4 and get somebody else that's got better fixtures. Then for the Arsenal assets, I've got Calafiori. I did have Saka, but he's probably injured. And then I did think about potentially having Gyökeres, but I could potentially get him in game week 2, 3 or 4. I'd rather wait with Arsenal and see how they get on without Saka and then make a decision game week 2, 3 or 4 if I want to buy some more players from them. And then last of all for Bayern Munich, I've got Elise and potentially Kane. I'm not too sure about having Kane. I think Mbappe is probably the better player to have for the first 2 game weeks. But I do think Harry Kane could score against anybody, so the games against Chelsea and PSG don't really put me off too much. I think Mbappe's fixture is better for game week 1, so I think I'd rather have Mbappe. And then if I need him in game week 2, I can make that switch over. So with a long explanation out the way, I just thought I'd show you my side one more time so you can just see what it looks like again. I think I'm 90% locked into this side. It just depends on Cole Palmer's fitness. If he isn't fit, then obviously I'll go back to the other side that I've shown you, because I don't want to spend 9.5 million of my budget on Cole Palmer that doesn't play in game week 1, and he's got a hard fixture anyway. I could potentially downgrade him to Enzo Fernandez, and in game week 2, if he is fit, I actually just upgrade Enzo Fernandez to Cole Palmer. So lastly, before I do finish this video, I have built this squad because I'm thinking of potentially wildcarding in game week 4, so this side is for the first 4 game weeks, and I plan to release a video tomorrow on my chip strategy and what my side would look like for game week 5 wildcard and potentially my limitless chip. So hit subscribe so you can see that video tomorrow. I've looked at when I'm going to use my limitless chip and I've actually tried to plan a little side for that. I've actually spent 118 million in that squad, and actually obviously I can spend as much money as I want. So the side does look really, really good, so stick around and watch that video, it looks really good. Anyway, I'm signing off and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.